Wow, that's come out bright. Let's see if we can't get that nice and dingy. Yeah, that's more like it. Dingy and mean. That's how I want to look. And bold. Hello, how are we all doing? Welcome to May. Can't believe it's May already. As usual, it's me, the only parent left who loves you. I'm here to amuse, yet no spamming. Good, thank you. We haven't got time for that. Yes, I'm here to entertain, amuse you, answer your questions, and generally check in. How's it going with you? Is life treating you well? If not, why not? Tell the group, share with the room, and let's see if we can't solve a few problems this evening. Willing to take questions on any and all topics other than those banned by the moderators. We won't take questions on those. That would be good. Yeah, it's probably J Power Hour again, Lobster. Sorry about that. I like to think of it more as the mellow hour with Jay and his cup of tea. Well, it's been a very, very, very interesting time. DJ says someone has a special news. A special news or just some special news, I suppose. What tea am I drinking? I'm drinking Yorkshire tea, which is only because it's lovely, firstly. I do like PG, but I've been drinking Yorkshire because Dennis, the fabulous Dennis, managed to get hold of a massive bag, like a catering bag of Yorkshire tea. And knowing I'm a bit of a tea fan, over he came with said tea. And now I've got a shit ton of tea. That's really the end of that story. It's not a very good story, really. It doesn't have a dramatic peak, or anything like that. So I've got loads of tea. So it's Yorkshire tea. That's the first question answered. So I can see we're smashing through this, absolutely smashing through. Right, let's have a look at the chat again. Celebrating your first A-level exam completed today, Blocks. Excellent. I hope it went well. Hope you smashed it. I'm sure that A-levels will be very useful come the apocalypse. What do you want to be? What were your A-levels in? I mean, I hope those match up. Like if you want to be a surgeon, I hope your A-levels on in media studies and geography. That's not going to be very good, is it? Let's find out. FNL, American and Canadian Mother's Day happened yesterday. Well, many happy returns, both American and Canadian mothers, who are also, that's kind of my dating age as well. So very, very happy to all of you. I can't afford to get to America or Canada. So sorry. Well, it's pretty for the best, to be honest. Who wants that? Right. Group therapy. Yes, we're doing group therapy. That's exactly it. Although at the moment, it's mainly me. I just dropped my bottle cap on the sidewalk. Well done. Number one, Julie Stan. Julie Stan sounds a bit like a country. Who has a special news to tell me? We'll see. Maisel sees Andrew online. Is he coming? Young Andy. I don't see him in here. He might make it. You know what? That Murray, he's quite a busy guy now. He's not like me, sitting here waiting for the first Monday of the month with literally nothing to do in between, making stuff up to pretend like I have a job. Andy actually does have a real job for Forklift, who are doing quite well. He has had so many game releases. Some of Andy's games that I would recommend having a little go at. I very much enjoyed a game called Cursed Words that he let me have a play on, if that's out. And I really enjoyed The Spotter, which I played during Next Fest this year and is now, I believe, out. And a friend of mine did the music for that. And it's rather good, sort of jazz stylings, swing jazz stylings. My same friend, he's actually in the same band as me. So more than a friend, a brother. Right, okay. I'm a little tired and kind of lost right now, generally, but I guess I'll get through. All right, Clemeny. That's good share, and you will get through. That's good. Ray Go Noom. I'm about to hit my toughest semester of the year, maybe even my college career. Excellent. How exciting. I like a challenge. What will be so challenging about that? Let us know. Pink. Hi, Jay. I posted earlier in the week in Off Topic. Sorry, I haven't really been in the Discord this week, but I wanted to tell the dev team, graduating college this week. Holy shit. Pink, that can't be happening. You can't be graduating college that week because that must mean I'm like within clutching distance of a bus pass. Anyway, congratulations. That is fantastic. Friday is the ceremony. What did you get? Did you get a first? Did you get what, a baccalaureate? I mean, what do you do? Thank you so much for everyone's support through the years. Oh, Ping. I think you did most of the work, to be honest. All I did was be sarcastic, vaguely on the sort of periphery of your orbit. Excellent. But congratulations. That's absolutely brilliant. Right, here we go. Roman, who's a professional athlete? Right. DJ says he is a professional athlete, which makes sense. Fair enough. I can't remember what that's referring to. Tomato. Next Fest is so fun, says K-Bub. I've learned of so many good games. Yeah, no, I really, really enjoy Next Fest. I think it's kind of good for if you're in the industry that week to just play as many demos as you can. Partly because I want to check no one else is doing what I'm doing. I've just seen Pink got a BACC in biochemistry. Fantastic. That's so cool. Good for you. That's absolutely brilliant. You'll probably get a job with that one. That's quite useful. That's not like having an MA in Taylor Swift, is it? That's an actual proper damn degree. DJ just says Andy Murray, which is all that one needs to say most of the time. Okay. Let's have a sip of tea. Next Fest is very good if you want to be a game developer. I don't know how many of you guys in this chat want to be game developers, but if you do, Next Fest is a good place to go. Right, so who have we got in the chat? We've got Roman. I can see all the names. Look, Roman, hi, DJ, Rego, Fiodo. I don't know you, Krevatochka, good teacher of a tortoise, FNL, that's a familiar name. Maisel, Mrs. Clemmy, hi, Abel, Mavel, Linktane, K-Bub. God, some of these things. GGNK, what's that? Maybe it's that. 55, Ermentina, nice picture. Pinqueris, excellent, sort of smiley demon cube, fantastic. Clownsington, what a superb name, number one. Judistan, Lobster, Cinemaze, some Russian that I'm not even going to attempt because I think it might be a hate crime if I do it, and Zoxy. So, all of you, what do you want to talk about? Let's get a debate on, shall we? Is Alex still at 2 Point? Yes, he is. Alex is very happily at 2 Point Studios, which is quite a lot of developers at 2 Point come from the old Peter Molyneux days around here. So, or to put it as Alex put it, it's like being with absolutely loads of old people like you, Jay, which really, I think is his karma. He thought he was getting away, and now he's got more of them. Okay. Right then, here we go. How would characters from Not For Broadcast behave when they're drunk? Well, Mason, the girls would probably get happy and then smiley and then giggly, and then they'd probably cry for a bit, and then they'd be asleep. And the boys, I believe the order is happy, angry, fighty, asleep. So that's probably what the characters would mainly do when they're drunk. I don't really drink that often because I don't really like me when I'm drunk, and I don't see why he should be inflicted upon anyone else. So that's how they'd behave, like totally normal humans, I would imagine. Good characters to get drunk with, obviously Peter Clement. What was Bruce's character called? Oh my God, I created him. Ivan, Thingy from Thingy Place. He would be brilliant to drink with. Dave, going out on the piss with Dave, that'd be brutal, wouldn't it? You'd probably end up in a fight or smashing up a Mercedes for no good reason. Why can't the boys get crying drunk? Don't know, Julia. Don't know. Maybe nature or nurture, or a bit of both. Gender reveal via getting them drunk. Yeah, hell of an approach for a child. Right, Lobster. I guess I'll start the ball rolling with the questions. Wow. Continue the ball. Let's give the ball an extra shove. The fabled prologue, aka Jacob Hamilton Mann's downfall. We never got to see that happen in the universe, but is the part with Patrick Bannon a key part of that downfall still canon? Probably not, because It depends which bit you're referring to, because obviously this is now many, many years ago that I wrote this. But there was, we had this idea at the beginning that Patrick's reports would always end with him knocking himself out, right? And it was gonna be a sort of like a running joke, like just every report with Patrick Bannon, he'd get knocked out, and you can see like little bits of that hung over and little bits of setup for that early on in the writing, which then we realized that was actually quite limiting. So there was going to be a bit where Patrick Bannon knocked himself out during that reveal, bringing Jeremy the photos. And there was some dialogue. There was some dialogue somewhere where Jeremy or Patrick bursts in to a prime ministerial sort of, a hustings, as it were, and confronts him. And we wrote that incredibly early, so you may be referring to that. I think it's canon that the National Nightly News broke the story of Jacob Hamilton Mann's sort of, I don't even know what to call it, onanistic downfall. But whether Bannon claimed to have a part in it, whether Jeremy could have broken the story, doesn't mean he was the news researcher that brought that story in, of course. He could easily have been brought in by someone further down the chain. But yeah, it is down that. Okay, I hope that answers it. I know it doesn't. Sorry, man. Or lady. Gender reveal via getting them drunk. At least Jeremy always goes down fighting. Damn right he does. Why can't the boys? I've answered that. Peter Clement versus Ivan Vodovich. Who would survive drinking the most shots? Oh. Yeah, Patrick would cry when he was drunk. I think you're right, Ping. Peter Clement versus Ivan Vodovich. Who would survive? I mean, we're drinking to the death, aren't we? I mean, during the war, those two would have put away so much. And after the war, after what they went through, I mean, God. I don't think alcohol could kill either of them. Arguably, alcohol might have done for Peter in the end if Julia hadn't. I think that I'd like Pete to be able to outdrink Ivan, but my heart and head tells me Ivan would win. Were Charlie and Susie's original name James and Alison? I wish Andy was here to answer that. Maybe. That could be the case. I can't remember. I mean, they've been Charlie and Susie so long. We wanted definitely to have gendered children because we were not able to gender almost any other characters in the incident system that you were immediately close to, which makes it harder to write those characters. Obviously, if you don't know characters' gender or their race or their class, that's really hard to write, right? That's like you're going to have to write very much within parameters, like, because you want the player to be able to put a face of their own on their spouse and also to reflect their own face onto their brother / sister-in-law. You've got to be so vague so you can define character points, but as you'll have seen, very few other things. Very difficult to do. Very easy to do with the player. Very difficult to do with the player's spouse. But because we really wanted you to be able to be gay or straight or, I just wanted to be as inclusive as possible without breaking the narrative. Partly because I think that is an intellectual challenge that is worth undertaking if you're worth your salt as a writer, but also obviously for the normal reasons, like why wouldn't you? Right, okay. I always had the idea of Jeremy disguised as a gravedigger. Oh my God, imagine just a little Bav tucked in behind a gravestone with a camera. Oh my God, I wonder if Jeremy would go in the front lines or who he'd send. Oh, that's great. Love that. Clemney, I want to ask about Jenny's family, especially what is her relationship with her mother like? In Time Loop, it looks like Jenny has a conflict with her, if I understand it correctly. Well, sort of a conflict, but only in the way that many adult women. I think that, and I'm going to be very careful here. I don't want to come across as in any way anti-Semitic, because obviously my father was Jewish and that side of my family are Jewish. But I think, I'm just going to say, I think that Jenny's mum is like a Jewish mum. She's a little fussy, and she's constantly putting her daughter down, but not because she wants to be horrible to her, because, that's how she shows love. Oh, are you going to wear those shoes? Oh, you've put a little weight on, babe. And I think that I just love how Jenny refers to her mother. I think when she says things like, I can't remember what she says, but according to mum, she'll use according to mother. She does it a few times. I think we learn a lot about that relationship. And I think that it's part of what's made Jenny so tough. I don't know. I had a very critical father, hypercritical father. And God rest his soul, he was one of the reasons I think I'm a little bit perfectionist as a boss for my staff. You'd have to ask my staff. I say staff, volunteers, how that goes. Right. I hope that answers your question. Jeremy bursting and calling Journal JHM out to his face. Has the Euphoria machine been used in Betterment? Probably not, because I think canonically, the Happiness Project gets abandoned when Dr. Thingy realizes that, God, I can't remember anyone's names today. It's like early onset dementia day. Realizes that, you can't really artifice happiness. And for all the other reasons raised in the time loop, all the other many terrible things that could be done with that technology for control, for, you wouldn't need to sterilize the population, would you? Or, artificially sort of contraceptulate the population, because you could just make everyone feel not horny all the time or docile, or, it's a frightening technology. So I hope it hasn't been used in Betterment. I would imagine that they'd like to. I always had the idea of Jeremy disguised as a grave digger. We've done that. We've done that question about Jenny. If Anne and Peter get drunk and make out before either of them die, they definitely do not make out. I don't think those two men, I don't think they're homophobic, but I think they're pretty traditional old guard straight. Peter definitely isn't homophobic because he's been in show business for years. Ivan might be homophobic because he's based on a sort of Slavic Eastern Bloc area, and there is a lot of homophobia in those regions. I'm not sure if he would be, though. I don't think it's like he's a jolly man raised in an awful place, if you see what I mean. There's a reason that Ivan and Peter get on. There's a shared sense of humor, despite the fact that Peter grows up in this democracy and Ivan grows up in what seems like quite a nasty place. They share a way of looking at the world, a mindset. They're both brutalized by the same war, where they fight on the same side, rather like Britain and Russia fought on the same side in the Second World War, although you wouldn't know it now. We've been allies so much longer and friends. Right, so yeah, I don't think they make up. Maisel, what happened to Jeremy after the epilogue of Better Jeremy? Would he have gone crazy and killed everyone, or he have been just a puppet? Oh, if that's the one, a Better Jeremy, if that's the one where he's like been turned into this sort of crazed, broken robot, you'd have to ask Al that. He kind of wrote that one. The thing about Betterment, right? Because I've just seen someone else write later on, I crave Betterment lore. So here's the thing about Betterment from the perspective of the writer. In the time loop, not in the time loop, in the lockdown, there are two versions of betterment, depending on how you've been playing, right? One where we see it as a dark sort of Hitler Youth movement of kids spying on parents and informing, and almost a youth spy movement and indoctrination and radicalization, right? There's that version, which is how I think Disrupt would view it. Certainly how Disrupt sympathizers would view it, and certainly how, if you've been playing in a sympathetic to Disrupt way, you should receive it, I believe, in the lockdown. Right, and then there's the other one where, as Stacey says, it's play areas and safe spaces and supervised time with decent role models for young people. Right, I know I'm mixing up Go-Getters and Betterment, right? Now, Betterment, sorry, I should be talking about Go-Getters in the lockdown, right? Now, Betterment is exactly the same as that. It's both of those things, right? So if you're a player who is very suspicious of the left and believes that to enforce equality we need a large police state and we need internment, almost not internment, but we need sort of well, you need betterment, you need whatever they call where they're putting the Uyghurs in China. I can't remember what they're calling those places. I don't know. I mean, I think of them as retraining camps or whatever. So in much the same way as during lockdown, Go-Getters is both of those things canonically, depending on how you play, because Not for Broadcast doesn't have a single canonical path, remember. Whatever experience you get is canonical, your version is canonical to you, and there will never be a sequel, so we will never have to pick one, right? So much the same way as Go-Getters is like Schrodinger's Boy Scouts, Betterment is either a place where people who have maybe never learned that violence isn't the answer, a place where those who are criminal and don't care about others in their actions are sent to be bettered so that they can be better members of society, like a fully rehabilitative prison system with therapists and diet and exercise and all the things that you would need to make an offender better. Okay, that's one version, and it is that. And then there's the version that this Jeremy goes through in A Better Jeremy, which is a 1984 like experience, probably with torture and brainwashing and Clockwork Orange, like, and basically all of those things. Imagine all of those, the worst of all the dystopian things. And it's called Betterment for that Orwellian reason that we always call things the opposite of what they are, right? So love that, Clemney. Every NFB copy is personalised. Also love that Lobster Gorn is claiming that that's trademarked. That is exactly it. So yes, I apologise for calling Go-Getters Betterment there, but I hope you understand the point that I'm making. We don't demonstrate it with Betterment, we demonstrate it with Go-Getters, but it's the same principle. The more we can leave the palette open while defining the edges, the more it is possible for the reader or player or consumer of our narrative to fill in the blanks with their own experience and their own world experience. And the more open it is to the way the world changes and the more reflective it is, for me, right? I know that's quite a pretentious thing to say. I'm not suggesting it is 1984 or anywhere near as well written as any of those things, obviously. I still read our Steam reviews, so I know that, not doesn't work for everyone. A lot of people think the writing is fairly trite. It isn't, but, to each their own. Right, okay, let's go back through. Is it true there was a point? Okay, Right, okay. How was it? What was it like playing Peter Clement before Roger Alborough? Oh, it's great fun. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, it's great fun. I love acting. I'm not as good as Roger Alborough, hence why we used Roger Alborough. But I'd written those lines and I understood the politics of them, and it was fun acting. It's always fun acting with Claire. Like it's never not fun acting with Claire. Was the moon landing in the not broadcast, and if so, which country did it? Probably yes, in America. Probably would be my guess. The look on his face. Thanks for answer. The word you're looking for is overbearing. That'll be about yeah, okay. Yeah, that's her mum. That's Jenny's mum. Is it true there was a point in Notgames where you were the CEO? Yes. It's amazing we made it through. Yes, there was a point where I was the CEO. In the middle of things, sort of after Not God and before Not for Broadcast, in what we call the wilderness years. Sarah Gibbons was part of Notgames. She came on at Not God and tried to help us with marketing. Yeah, loads of people have been around Notgames for a long time. I crave for Batman lore. Hopefully that sated that craving a little. Peter the ally, definitely an ally. Bisexual Peter dead, not dead. He can be as bisexual as you want, Julia. Nobody can stop you doing things in your own mind or with a pen and paper, but probably not with grok because that's public. That's wrong. He can be curious. Yeah, he can be curious, or you can find his serial numbers off. Excellent. Thank you for the food. You're welcome. I think go-getters are Ingrid and Wong's children from Isolation, Helvetica and Times, a reference to Susie and Charlie. I don't believe so. I don't think so. I just think Helvetica and Times. It's just nice to name children after fonts. That's so Alex. That's got to have been Alex. Oh, I wish it was me, but it makes me laugh, so it's probably Alex. Mixing up go-getters and betterment. Yes, yes, I was miss saying that. Right, every NFB copy is personalised. We've done that. Are you planning Not for Broadcast 2? No, we're not, Prue. There will never be Not for Broadcast 2 for many reasons. One of those reasons is the FMV games, right? They are really expensive and really hard to do and quite niche. And they don't always hi Big Chris, and they don't always make their money back, let's say that. We have just, but not by loads. So making an Not for Broadcast 2 financially would be an incredibly big risk. Also, I really like that there is no official ending. I really like that. I like that we don't have to pick a canon ending. And obviously, to do Not for Broadcast 2, we'd either have to do something so far into the future that it might as well be a different game, or we'd have to do a prequel. And I always feel if you do a prequel, there's no peril. We can't threaten the world with nukes when we all know there weren't any nukes 5 years later. Prequel is very difficult to write. And I am currently working on something which is a spiritual successor to Not for Broadcast, in that it has my writing in it, and it's got songs in it, and it's funny, I hope, and it's kind of political in its own little way. So I'm working on a spiritual successor, but not a direct successor story-wise. I think we have said all we need to say, and I do feel like Time Loop is kind of like Not for Broadcast 2 in a lot of ways. It brings back all the characters. It's almost the same length. It gives every character a really good sort of moment of shining, their own universe or their own moment of just glory, and it mixes characters we want to see mixed. I think that Bits of Your Life fills in the backstory, sort of satisfies the prologue. So I think we're done. I think we're complete. I think it's time for a new story. But if any of you want to make Not for Broadcast 2, well, I suppose Tiny would sue you into the fucking ground. Don't do that. It wasn't my idea. Don't do that. Right, there's an epilogue where Julia goes to Betterment. In your opinion, what would happen to her? Do you think it even works for her? I don't know. I think if it's the nice Betterment, I don't think Julia needs to be told to think of others. I think that she does think of others. It's just she does it in a bit of a warped way. I do think that she is well motivated, and even in her self preservation, I think one of the reasons that she does that is because she genuinely believes that she is the best possible leader for the country, and that if she lets anyone else take over, things will go back to the old ways, uh, which I don't think she was happy with. So that's what I think. Would not broadcast equivalent of the CIA fund, disrupt to overthrow advances regime? Definitely yes. Hi, Big Chris. Hi, Big Chris. Jay just wanted to play all the drunk characters. They are good fun to play. Chris getting loads of emoji love. 1984 is a good book. Kind of weird, but you have to ignore certain things. What things do we have to ignore? Interested to hear what you think we have to ignore. I would go further than a good book. I would say a tacit and important warning of exactly what is happening in the world. If you take 1984 and like make it breed with Brave New World, you've pretty much got where we are. Maisel, I noticed that the pillow in the background is in the colours of Advance and the microphone is in the colours of Disrupt. Is this a coincidence? Yes, it is. I wish I'd thought it through that much. The pillows are, I think, from one of the sets. I can't remember which one, but maybe one of the Nightly Show sets. Not sure, but I may have changed the covers on them. This microphone being orange, no, it's just a pure coincidence. Pure coincidence. Right. I imagine it like in Dragon Ball when Frieza and Hell surrounded by happiness and she's utterly miserable. Oh, I hope not. So there is a country in the world that is similar to the United States. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because Sophia Remington comes from there. Chris, I rang Den. He told me he was ill. That's really bad because I thought he was on holiday. Maybe that was last week. Maybe he's come back ill. And then I saw this was on, swung by to make sure he wasn't doing this. Yes, check up on him. Good. Julia is tormented by the very therapy she really, really needs. I hope Den gets well soon. NF2 was concepted in DLC number 3, where future universes, yeah, to a degree, yes, it's been stepped into. I wouldn't want to go any further than that. Yeah, and I think when we go future, far future, yeah, where everything's lovely under an AI's rule, sort of that. Oh, yeah. Okay, Remington's Fist comes from there. Yeah, Lobster, that's what I was saying. Spiritual successor with songs from me. Yeah, count me in. Oh, bless you, Lobster. You ask very good questions, which often keep me on my toes, but you're very kind. That's very kind of you. Haven't had a phone call about casting. Sorry, Chris. I said to your agent, we wanted you, and then he told me you're right, and I told him where to stick it, mate. I don't understand why you have to be paid in strawberries. It's like, and not just like a small amount. It's like a truckload, just as a rider in a bath. Are you bathing? No, anyway, your rider's too much. Your fee's ridiculous, and I don't even think that was your agent. I actually think that was you putting on a voice. Right, for me, NFB2 would be in 2000 to 2010s. Yeah, I'll tell you what, Roman. Interestingly enough, one of the problems with NFB2, because we did make a thing called Dead Air. I don't know if we ever showed it to you guys, but it was going to be the next FMV game that we wanted to make as a team. But one of the problems we had with it, and it would have been a problem with NFB2, was widescreen. Obviously, everything's 16:9. So, as you know, the screen in Not Broadcast is pretty much taken up with the information we need to give you, the big screen, the other screen, the 4 little screens, right? Now imagine having to add more on the edges. You've got to shrink them even more on the vertical, or you've got to make it entirely for people who have ultra wide monitors, or you've got to lay them out in a different way, which is what we eventually did for Dead Air. But that would have been set in the modern day had it been picked up. Got to get to work. Great seeing you all. Love to see you too, Pink. Bye. Have a good day at work. NFB2 with the descendants of the main cast. If Jeremy was married, I think his son can be news host. That doesn't tend to happen though in the news, does it? You don't see a lot. I mean, we had one in this country. We had the Dimblebees, David Dimbleby and Jonathan Dimbleby, and their father, I believe, was Richard Dimbleby, and that was like a grand BBC broadcasting dynasty. But apart from that, right. The stickers on your guitar, says FNL, and the things stuck to your red pinboard. Yeah, the things stuck to my red pinboard are out of date ideas for the game that I'm currently working on, so you shouldn't really be able to see those, but you can, and there's so little there, and they're not stickers on the guitar. This guitar was hand painted for me years ago, I mean absolutely years ago, by a guy who was called Dave the Frog, euphemistically. And I don't know if you can see, he painted first of all a forest, and then he didn't like it, so he painted over it, and he painted like a baby, a fetus. I don't know if you can see that down there, a little bit of baby there. Then he didn't like that, so that went. Then there were planets which went up here, and then he got rid of all of that and just left echoes. And this is real gold leaf paint. So, and this is out of tune, but this is the first guitar I learned to play on, so it's got a lot of sort of sentimental value. And what happened was it got broken here on the back at the neck. It came away, and I was not skilled enough to fix it without breaking it further. And as I say, it's hand painted. But recently, a guy called Charlie Walter became a luthier near me. So I asked him if he thought it was fixable, and he did. He has made it playable again and fixed it. So I shall probably write some of the songs for the new game on that, because it's such a pleasure to play again. Yeah, so there you go. Thank you for being nosy into my lounge. Right. Okie dokie. Back to the chat. What's going on? Okay, got to get it to work. Yeah, we've done that. Okay, NFP2 with the Descendants. Every copy of NFP2 is personalised. Yeah, we've done that. We've just done that. Info dumping. Sorry, I'd hate to be paid in strawberries. It's only a million strawberries, right? What's your problem? God damn it, man. That's a funny guy. Right. Oh, he's not here anymore. Very funny man. Because they are not that good. Who from NFB would eat Nesquik in addition to beer? Oh, Jeremy would drink Nesquik. I'm certain. You know, he's talking about Nesquik, the milkshake, the sort of quick to make frothy milkshake that we had as children. Yeah, that was great. I bloody love it. It was my mum, she's going through some stuff. That's a reference to The Agent. Brilliant. What is this? He has to be paid in those $20 Gucci strawberries that went viral about a year ago. That's it. Guess the country. Dead air again from Notgames we haven't heard about. It wasn't picked up, no. Currently sitting in a relatively nice train station. I was thugging the cold out, but I think I'd die. Everyone look at my little Jenny Mead. It's so cute. That's brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Brilliant, Clemley. I'm currently sitting in a relatively nice train station. Have you got a ticket for your destination, like Simon and Garfunkel? I hope so. Whoa, pretty, getting some love for the me. Took guitar from the wall. Is there more info about this dead air? I'm afraid not. I can't tell you anything about it because if we have to pitch it in the future, or if Alex or Den or Andy want to do something with it, it's not mine. And I was not the creative lead on the project. So telling you more, you will have to nag, really Al, when he's next in. I don't mind telling him that I've mentioned the name Dead Air. But I mean, if he's up for it, then we'll share more information. But it's really up to him. It's his baby, and it'd be unfair of me to spoiler it. What was your favourite advert to shoot? Favourite advert shoot? The Crazy Neils were really good fun because we got mad Stuart Morrison to come into the office, and he didn't have a script. He had photos, like loads of photos. I used to make slideshows for him, and a lot of the images in those slideshows are the images that then appear behind him when he's talking about them. And so and sometimes I'd have buzzwords that would just come up on the screen for him, or I'd say, "Oh, I'll talk about this, or talk about that." Right, and he would do 20 minutes maybe in each costume. So like to get to gold, sticks, like we would film so much coverage, and then Andy would just chop and chop and chop and chop at it and keep the absolute best. And we threw away so much because the other thing was he would always forget that there were, like, you couldn't mention, like, you can't say "fuck you, Boris Johnson" or whatever. Like Jesus did that as well. "Fuck you, Boris," and we had to throw away a take. Yeah, Stu would constantly mention people. Neil Armstrong, I think that one got through. But he would constantly give us stuff we just couldn't use, or he'd mention a mobile phone or like technology that didn't exist. And also, and there'd be some stuff that was so disgusting. It's just like, we cannot put that out. No, "Fuck you, Boris Johnson" wasn't Crazy Neil. That was Jesus. It's very funny, very familiar. So they were really good to shoot, the Crazy Neils. The hardest advert to shoot. I didn't shoot many of them. Obviously, all the advance ads. For me, probably the hardest might have been the cruise ship, because we had to write that song and it had to be very, very close to the song it was pastiching, without breaking copyright completely. And then we had to find exactly the right singer. And then we had to get a different actress to play the part because the girl with the amazing voice didn't look right for the part. And then there was all the cruise ship stuff that had to be put in the back as well. So that was quite fun. Oh, I'll tell you what else was a fun one. Closing down, the closing down version, and in fact the two with the boss of what was the company called, the Bumley folk, the boss of that company who played the boss, when they're taking stuff out, he was an impersonator, and oh my god, he could do great impressions. So he was lovely to have around. So I really enjoyed that one. I have a ticket, but it's underground. Okay, fair enough. See you at the other end. I pray it gets picked up. I don't think it will, DJ. OG refresh. I remember contest in lockdown period where we photoshopped the devs and Flux wins, and it was pinned in don't know. Sorry, Roman, don't know. Julia, I only joined right when Boyle was coming out, I think. I remember not really caring about it when it first came out. I was very, very wrong. Yeah, a lot of people didn't care about the DLCs. Didn't sell a lot, and apparently that's really common. I didn't think so. I thought most people would buy DLCs, and kind of wish now that I'd put Time Loop out as not broadcast too. But still, what can you do? The word didn't spread, and by then Tiny Build were having financial issues and weren't really that keen on working with us anymore. So that I don't think they really promoted them that well. And even if they had promoted them well or better, DLCs don't really sell. So my new game will not have DLCs. That's something I've learned, is tell your story as you can. Fuck you, Russians, and damn it. There's a million questions I must have that I don't remember. That's all right, Julia, because I'm here every single month, because I don't go anywhere. Denise Waterman is the actress. Yes, it could well be. Pleasure Core, correct, DJ. Put Nesquik with beer. Yes. I wouldn't do that. It was pinned in stickboard in Alex control room in lockdown level. Wow. Well, I never. How exciting. I think that I'm up to date with the chat. Do you have any interesting behind the scenes stories from when you were shooting Boyle? Boyle was like, and forgive me if I've said some of this before, I loved Boyle. Like, I loved doing it. The guy playing Eamon was just fantastic fun to be around. Louis, a brilliant sense of humour. We shared a sense of humour. He and Roger got on very well. And Louis, he was a morning person, right? And I'm not. And so he was always full on in the mornings and would get everyone zipped up. And I remember I arrived, it must have been the second week I got there. And obviously, makeup are in first, right? So makeup have been in for a while. And Louis by in for a little while in makeup. By the time I get there, we're drifting with Nigel. And we arrive. And Louis has unionized the makeup girls. There's only two of them, right? One of them is the daughter of a really good friend of mine, and she's brilliant, Maddie, brilliant makeup artist, one of the best, does Newsnight now. And she would have been working with either Hannah, who is this just gloriously hilarious woman. Anyway, it doesn't really matter who Maddie was with. I can't remember who the other was. I think it was Hannah. But apologies if it wasn't to whoever it was. We had fantastic makeup people. Louis decided they'd unionized and they were going to strike for some stupid reason, like the chocolate biscuits weren't right or something. And I remember that being really funny. And I used to look forward to getting to shoots because I knew by the time I got there, that everyone would already be laughing and Louis would have done half the job for me. Because obviously you need your cast laughing if you're trying to shoot comedy. You can't be shooting comedy, with, well, yeah, you can't shoot comedy if everyone's in a bad mood. I think Boyle was just a charmed shoot. The dancers we had just seemed to nail it so quickly and get 3 takes done in a day with costume changes, with all those light changes. Claire was knocking it out of the park on the choreography. I thought Joe, who played young Peter, we only had him in for a day, and he's such a lovely guy. And yet again, he came in and just nailed nearly everything in one take. But really watching Peter and Louis drag performances out of each other and push each other to keep it going was just inspirational. And it was funny. We all laughed so much. There were only 2 reshoots on Boyle. One for a technical reason, can't remember what it was. Probably that I didn't like it when I watched it back because something was going on too slow, is often the case. And the other one, because we couldn't take it, because Claire just kept making Louis giggle so badly. Oh, God, I can't remember which one of her scenes it was, but it had some quite long pauses in it. And Claire, when she gets the giggles, it's insanely infectious. So there's some backstage stuff from Boyle. That's what I remember fondly about it. I also remember having to go to Subway every lunchtime and have their margarita, sort of what they call a margarita there, which is just a piece of their bread that isn't bread, covered in cheese and tomato and stuff. Right, the chocolate biscuits are a worthy cause for striking. They were, to be fair. They were good biscuits. We, by the time we got to Time Loop, which we shot before Boyle, and Boyle, which we shot last. That was the other thing about Boyle. Boyle was the last thing I wrote for it, even though Time Loop I knew was going to be the last thing we released, so it ends the way it does. Actually, the very last thing that I ever wrote on Not for Broadcast is Peter Clement's speech at the end of PT, which you get if you do the adverts dead right. So if you have a copy of Bits of Your Life, it's quite a long speech. You have to, PT, you have to pick the last ever episode where he's saying goodnight and thank you. But watch that again, knowing that was the last thing I ever wrote. And I think you'll find other things in it. Maybe. I hope so. Right. Would Julia like Stephen King novels? Yeah, I reckon she would. Julia's quite smart. I based Julia partly on Emily Thornberry, who was just knocked out of the park on the Foreign Affairs Committee in this country. Formidable. And Julia, if Julia hadn't been put in the position she was in, she might well have been gone a different way. She could have been a very powerful lawyer, I think. Was Joseph Eyre wearing a wig when playing young Peter? I Don't think so. Don't think so. Certainly not every time. The awkward silences are killing me with the Julia section. Yeah. Julia Stan, I've played it relatively recently because a certain person here wouldn't hop off it until I did. Amazing. Okay, what have you shared here, Fiona? That's Andy smiling. That's a hairy Andy. My God. Andy has shaved his head now because he wants to look more like me. I mean, who can blame him? Really, he's seen the best. Yeah, we have to thank Lobster. Okay, thanks, Lobster. Brilliant. Boiler's best. I do like Bob. Well, if Lobster says finish time loop, it's waiting until next year. Yeah, I mean, definitely finish time loop. It's the time loop is about 5 hours, top to tail, if you do it with a guide. If you don't want to see anything twice, I'm sure that you can cheat your way through and just see it. But if you like it, if you like Not for Broadcast, see the ending, read the last chapter of the book. But you know, one of the joys of time loop is it's not going to traumatize you. I don't think at any point. I think it will just make you remember things in a nice way. It's fan service. It really is fan service. A lot of it, and I wrote it very much, as did Andy, because Andy and I wrote that. When we wrote that, really with you guys, a lot in mind. And Andy would come over and at lunchtime and we'd go, "What? Yeah, well, they often talk about that. Could we do that? Could we show them what it would be like if this happened? Could we show that? Could we do this?" Yeah, you know, so oh, you've seen it, you just haven't played it. Well, if you've seen it all the way through, then maybe you don't need to play it. Don't know, if you don't really like fidget spinning while you watch TV. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, well, that's what, yeah, I can understand why you're saying that. The last act is very fan servicey. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah. And very, you know, it's very difficult because obviously if your central message of everything you do is kind of just be nice and try and be happy, right? That's kind of trite, even though it's kind of basic. In fact, for the last act, there was no PM section. No, we had run out of Prime Minister things to do by then. Sorry, I think I'd said enough. No Julia, yeah, sorry about that. I've got Julia nagging me to be in the new game at the moment, and so I'm sure you'll hear her voice again, because if I don't at least give her a cameo, she's gonna fucking kill me. So that's good. Claire is fabulous and well, and so I'm sure would want me to send her love to all of you. My God, it is 8 minutes to 7. I've spoken for a complete hour. No wonder my throat hurts. Right, if there are no more questions, I think we may begin to wrap up there, and I might go and have my dinner. This tea has, to be honest, it's past its peak. You know, it's not as warm as it was. What can I say? Lovely. This was quite informative. Thank you, Lobster. I'm glad to hear it, which is better than most months where I feel it's quite rambly or digressive, and not in a good digressive way. I just mean a lot of meander to very little purpose. We will be back next month. I'm going to check the calendar now and find out if it's a bank holiday or if it's going to be. It's going to be the 1st of June, apparently, and I have a Crucible rehearsal that night because I'm in the Crucible, and it's going to be really, really good. We've got a really strong cast, and I think it's going to be really, really good. So anyway, I've got a rehearsal that night, but it doesn't start till 8:30. So yes, we will probably do the earlier slot though. We'll probably do 5 till 6 next month, so probably an hour earlier than now, so that I can get out and get to rehearsal without any more problems. Love to you all. Thank you so much for spending this hour with me. It means a lot to me, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope I'm dealing with your questions. I really can't wait till I can talk about my new game and show it off to you. Until next month, June the 1st, have a wonderful May. Have a wonderful merry month of May. Bye.